Thank you very much. I'm good. I'm so glad to be back on Morning Live.
It's your second run with the show, and you know the thing that they say, like for now, because you've done it so much, it's second nature now, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. No. It's well. There's bits that I've added in, and there's some extras and everything, and so I really enjoy the show because it's something that's really close to my heart.
What were the bits you added in? Because you had your launch on Tuesday, and I've spoken to a couple of people. They raved about the launch. They said it was one of the funniest things they've attended.
Yeah, it's just as little things, like there's an extra gag here or there that you throw in, and like as you're going through it, you remember something else and add that in. So it's not like major things. It's just little things here and there.
But also the baby's growing up, so there are other things you kind of have to add, isn't it?
Yeah. Although that I might just turn into an entirely different show on its own called Who's Your Daddy 2 or something.
It could be actually an awesome TV show. What has the reaction been? So you've been all over the provinces. You're now finally in Gauteng. It's your second run. You've been to Eastern Cape. You've been to Durban.
I've even been to Clarksdorp. Yeah, I know. I take it everywhere. The reaction's been fantastic. It's everybody's been very, very complimentary about it, which is really nice. And
because a lot of people can resonate with it.
Exactly,
a lot of people understand what you're talking about.
It's especially parents and people who are about to become parents. But I did use a director specifically who hadn't had children. So if you haven't had children, you'll still understand a lot of the show.
Yeah, my director's busy talking to me in my ear saying, "Who's the show aimed at?" And I'm going like, "It's obvious. Who's your daddy?"
So, yeah, well, it's mostly at parents and people who are hoping to become parents. But it's for anyone who likes to laugh.
Do you find that now that you're a father of two, do you find that your humor has become better, that you don't have to be... One of the other things that a friend of mine who watched your show said, there's something about Chris Forrest, is that he's incredibly funny, but he's quick. He has a lot of wit, and his timing is impeccable.
I don't know if that... Well, tell your friend I said thank you very much. But being a dad, the way it's influenced my humor is as a comedian, you kind of write about what you know. And what's around you. So a lot of comics will write about, going out and meeting ladies or meeting men and whatever. And so my comedy now, because my life is so much dominated by my children. For sure. I wrote a show about having kids or going through a pregnancy, etc.
And I mean, one of the other things as well that came out, I just think that from the feedback that I got was that whatever the person saw the first time you did Who's Your Daddy and reckons this one is so much more funnier than the first time you brought out Who's Your Daddy. Because I remember interviewing you a year ago about the show when you were shaping it and talking about your own experiences.
Yeah, no, I think it's like I say, as the show goes on, it does get more refined, and you do add bits in and take some bits out that aren't working, and it does become a better sort of, as you said, more refined experience.
Where are you now as Chris Forrest, the comedian? Where are you now from a comedic perspective as Chris Forrest as a comedian now?
I go through life. I really love what I do as a comedian. It's like fun for me. So I just, whatever I'm enjoying or going through at that point in time, that's what I write about and do shows about, and hopefully people enjoy it, and thankfully they have been so far.
Any new advice for fathers? I know that it talks about your own experiences, but is there any advice that you give to fathers? I know each experience is unique.
There's some very important advice that everyone asks me about nappy changes. Like when you're changing the nappy, make sure you always have the sharp end covered. Because otherwise you get covered and then you have to get a change yourself.
Yeah, the sharp end, I'm not going to tell people what, for those that don't know what it means. They figured it out by now. Your daughter, well, the youngest one is 4 months and the eldest one is 4. It's about 3.5?
3 years old now, yeah.
And the humor is directed at the oldest one. Any humor that you potentially could write for the baby, little one?
It's very similar to what I went through with the older one.
Okay.
But the story is all about the journey to becoming a dad with the older one. The younger one is I mean, she's so super chilled. I think as a parent, when you get onto your second one, it's a lot easier. And it's not quite as terrifying as that original experience. You don't go in and check.
You know a lot more now. Yeah. You know a lot more now, but yeah, it's a very different experience. Okay, so the show launched on Tuesday. For anybody who wants to catch it, where can they go and where can they find out tickets, details, prices?
They can check out. It's at the Santon Theatre on the Square. It's awesome. We've got some really cool Huggy giveaways and stuff like that.
Cool.
You can go to strictlytickets.com to get tickets. Otherwise, you can buy them at the theatre or just follow me on Twitter and I will harass you with spam about the show. It's at Chris Forrest SA.
Are we ever going to see a TV show related to this?
I hope so. Hey, we've got a shift in content coming up. Maybe I'll pitch something along those lines.
I think it would be incredibly funny, actually.
Claudia, if you're listening, I know that he's choosing the content himself these days, so maybe give me a call. Follow me on Twitter.
Okay, I'll tell my boss to follow you on Twitter. Okay, Chris Forrest, comedian. He's got a show. It's a return show. It was very successful. It's called Who's Your Daddy? It's back for a second run. Go and check it out. Google the details. Or just Google Chris Forrest. You'll be able to find the details. We're taking a break.